Welcome to episode number 200.
You're listening to Escaping the REI Newbie Zone podcast, where you'll learn the underground, closely guarded secrets that will revolutionize your real estate business. This podcast is all about helping you exit the real estate newbie zone and enter financial freedom, building up your real estate throne. This is Escaping the REI Newbie Zone podcast. And now your host, real estate investor, entrepreneur, world traveler, and nationwide mentor, Chris Bruce.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are on episode 200. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is phenomenal, guys. This is a record-breaking moment for me. 200 episodes in from Escape the REI Newbie Zone. And I just want to say thank you, all of the listeners, everybody that's been tuning in. I really do appreciate you guys. You are the best. For those of you that all of you have written reviews, for you that reached out, social media, through email, about how much you've enjoyed the podcast, how much you've enjoyed the interviews. I just want to say thank you, guys. You have really helped me to make it to the 200 episodes, and we're going to go another 200 more episodes for sure. All right, we're not going to stop. All right, I love doing this podcast. It is amazing for me to meet and connect with other different successful entrepreneurs, successful investors, and be able to put this content out to the world so that many of you tuning in can be able to lock in and, get the information and jewels and nuggets and gems that you need that you can apply to your business. There's so many people that have told me that, let alone the podcast from motivating them, but also just giving them enough knowledge to go out there and do deals. There's people that have literally listened in to every single episode and have done and completed deals just from this alone. And stuff like that is just, it's crazy, man. And it just excites me. It really motivates me. I'm telling you guys to continue doing this. There's times where, listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't always want to crank out a podcast, right? But I want to stay consistent. I want to make sure that I'm providing you guys with content on a consistent basis twice a week. And, it's just been a great journey, and I want to continue doing it. All right. So thank you for this. We're number 200 episode in. I do have a very special gift I'm going to give somebody. Okay. So what you need to do to participate to win, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a free group mentorship access to the program. All right. I've launched a new group mentorship program called Acquisition and Conversions. All right, where we show you how to acquire leads and how to convert those leads into deals. And we're going to be launching that pretty much top of next month. But for those of you that actually go ahead and participate in this contest, if you want to say, you're going to get a chance to hopefully be one of the winners and be able to join the group for free. Now, this is going to be a group mentoring where we actually meet twice a month. All right, you're going to get access to training. There's some other bonuses and stuff that comes with it as well too. And so I'm going to give one lucky winner today the access to that training and that group mentorship program. All right, so all you got to do to participate is go ahead and drop either a review. So you need to log into iTunes. All right, drop a review. Okay, so it has to be recent. I'll be able to see today. Drop a review of this podcast. Leave us a 5-star review and drop us a comment. All right, with your name, or share this episode on social media and tag me at Detroit Mogul. That's all you have to do, guys, to be contested into this opportunity for you to win a free group mentorship access, all right, of something that is very, very, very valuable. Because I'm telling you, this is going to change. I promise you, it's going to change the whole industry of what I'm going to be bringing on to the market with this group mentorship program. All right, I promise you. We already got some people in it that have been beta testers. We do calls bi-weekly, every other Wednesday, 8:30. You'll be able to attend those. This stuff is life-changing. We have a training course put together you get instant access to, which is called acquisitions and conversion. Again, it's showing you how to acquire leads and convert them into deals. We have quizzes in there, lessons in there, the whole shebang. All right, we got some special stuff. We're going to give you a list once a month as long as you stay a member. But one lucky person is going to win free access to it today. So go ahead, leave a review on this podcast on iTunes with your name. Also, or you could just share this episode on social media, tag me at Detroit Mogul, and you will be automatically enrolled. And I'll pick a lucky winner on next Friday on our 202 episode that's going to win. Okay, guys, I don't want to wait too much further. What I want to do is I got a very special guest for our 200th episode. Like as I told you before, I have a lot of different special guests that's going to be on this podcast, and this one is a special one. Okay, this guy has been actually a competitive bodybuilder. He's turned serial entrepreneur, real estate investor. He's currently wholesaling properties on opposite sides of the country. So just think about that. He's selling deals on pretty much bi-coastal. All right, some on the east side, the south of the country, and the other one on the west coast. Okay, and his focus is developing and retaining strong relationships within the real estate industry with thought leaders, agents, and investors to establish strong, scalable collaborations. All right, he's involved with numerous wholesale deals annually, and he is really a part of one of the best real estate industry tools to the market. All right, he's going to be talking about this tool. You might have, if you're in already our Facebook group, you've heard me talk about it before. But it's insane what the software can do for your business, especially for you guys that's virtual wholesaling, and even people that's locally wholesaling, as well too. So, guys, you're gonna love this episode, and let's just go ahead and get into it. Let me wait no further. I know I've talked your head off already enough. Let's go ahead and get into it and bring on my special guest, Paul Del Pozo. All right, how you doing, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Escaping REI Newbie Zone. Once again, like I said on the intro, we have a very special guest. So I'm going to wait no further and introduce the man of the hour, Paul Del Pozo. How you doing, Paul?
Oh, man, Chris, I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent, man. I cannot complain. Life's good. I just not too long ago got from over your side of the country, the West Coast. So things are good.
Yeah. West Coast to East Coast, man. I know. I used to be out there in Florida too, so I know what that coast travel's like, man.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so for people that may not know you and know about your story, can you kind of give us a little intro of like what were you doing before real estate and how you got introduced into the business?
Yeah. So I dabbled in a lot of stuff, right? I mean, I'll take it way back. I went to college, went to Hofstra University in New York. Just kind of followed that path. Followed a lot of my friends, from high school in that path to go to college because you just kind of figured that's the thing to do. Went to college, kind of struggled, man. I was just trying to figure out what I was doing there. What I should be focusing on. And about 2 years in, I left college. It just wasn't the right thing for me. I started working for myself basically. I had a lot of computer knowledge that I guess I had just kind of obtained on my own from being a little kid, and I'd started to kind of study that on my own, like even during college. And I started doing that. I started a computer consulting business. I was doing like some network installs and break fix, for individuals and small businesses. But I tell you that the one thing I did learn in college, right, which is funny, was how to work out, which is it's the funny thing because you go to school and you got you're living in a dorm with a couple guys, and some of the guys are headed out to the gym, and at the time I wasn't really into lifting. I played sports, but lifting wasn't my thing. So one day they're like, oh, come on, come with us. So sure, I went, I got bit by the bug, and that kind of started a little bit of a workout obsession for me, right? So, all this time I'm past college, I'm working and kind of have this itch to get into the, fitness industry and maybe a trainer. I wasn't sure, right? So I started going into that direction, seeing what opportunities are there. went into like personal training, completely different, angle from where I was at. Again, just trying to figure out what I needed to do. But it led me into the sports nutrition industry, the bodybuilding world, and I actually got into competing. I got into being sponsored by a major brand out there, which led to me actually becoming a territory manager for this company, and I was handling the whole southeast of the country, opening accounts for, products, sports nutrition products and things like that. And man, that was a good chapter of my life. I was doing that for about, 10 years. And I was always, looking to kind of figure out what that next move was. Cause I know, bodybuilding and sports nutrition, they, at the time they were a passion for me, but that didn't look like that was the long-term thing for me. Right. So of course I go back to, oh man, what am I going to do now? So flash forward to about 3.5 years ago. I was taking a long drive actually from South Florida up to your neck of the woods up in Tampa, just a little south of there. And I guess I've been searching online for businesses or things, and you know how the internet is, and things find you. So I find a wholesaling webinar to jump on, sign up, and so I happened to play this thing, and I was listening to the audio as I was driving. So I don't know, 2.5 hours later, I got to where I was going, and I had this seed planted in my head. I'm like, wholesaling, what is this stuff, right? So sure enough, I call my cousin, because he had been kind of talking about this over the years. I never really paid attention. I just kind of knew he was doing some real estate stuff, right? That was kind of how I looked at it. And it turns out, he knew what wholesaling was. He knew what rehabbing, and he was doing all this stuff. So he kind of schooled me a little bit into it, and said, hey man, if you're going to check this out, I'll give you a couple pointers, and tell you what you need to do. And I went ahead, a couple weeks in, I got a pre-foreclosure list, and I went out there, man, and started knocking doors, right? Because I didn't really know any other way of finding properties. I just figured if I had this list, I knew they were in distress, I could go knock on doors and see if I could work a deal. That was my, basic thought of it all. Gotcha. It's sure enough, 3 weeks into this, right? Knock, knock, knock. I find this guy, he's in pre-foreclosure, he's got an auction coming up in a couple weeks. Basically, I asked him, hey, what are you doing? What's your plan? He had none. So I was there to help him. And, we worked out a deal. He was able to walk away with a little bit of cash, and I got my first deal, man. And I actually, I proved it to myself, and I made this thing that I heard on this podcast and happened to me. So I was hooked at that moment. So that's kind of, my progression of where I was to, getting into the business.
Gotcha. Wow, that's crazy, man. It's funny how, something like that, like you said, like a podcast, like a webinar, can like just give you that shift in mindset and spark that idea. And now you can't stop thinking about it. And you're like, all right, I gotta get into this.
I was hooked, man. They planted that seed, and that's all I wanted to learn. I dove deep into like learning everything, university, YouTube, plus everything else out there, right?
Definitely. Okay. All right. So you did your first deal. Then what? So did you go, and at this time, were you still a trainer, or did you go like full into real estate?
No, I hadn't been a trainer actually for quite a while. Being a trainer kind of led me into that sports nutrition world, where I became a bodybuilder myself, and then ultimately worked for that company that was sponsoring me.
Gotcha.
But no, by the time I got to where I was looking for that next step, I was, completely removed from training anybody. Okay. But sports and training and lifting, that's just been, I guess, foundation for me, right? Yeah. And that's really kind of put some, mindset, tricks when the times are tough, in business, how that can be, right?
Oh yeah.
So, some of the struggles I learned just in being able to control my mind and being able to just kind of conquer, goals from that chapter of my life really kind of helped me get going. Because I tell you, after that first deal, it was scarce. I thought they were all going to be that easy, right? You get these false ideas. At least in that case, I got these false ideas that the business would be super easy. All I need to do is just keep knocking out there, knocking on doors whenever I wanted. But man, the reality of the business hit me, right? So, I continued for a couple more months that year, really just networking, going down to RIAs and seeing the who's who of the business. I think my biggest thing was I just, you don't know what you don't know, right? So
Right.
I felt like I needed to just connect with people that were really doing the business and not people that were talking about wanting to do it, but connecting with folks that were really doing it, right? So I took it upon myself to connect with as many people as I could, all the while still, out there trying to find more deals, continue door knocking, and then you start learning more stuff, right? Direct mail, other strategies, and then you kind of get bogged down with learning a lot, right? That's really what, if I had to sum up my whole year, what my whole first year in the business was, learning it, proving it, and then getting caught up in the mix of the avalanche of so much information.
Yeah, information overload.
Right.
Yeah, I think that I'm glad you mentioned that too, because that's what happens to a lot of folks. Because obviously being a coach and somewhat of a, I don't know, some people call me a guru. I don't really call myself that, but I get a chance to talk with a lot of different people, and I've had a lot of success stories. And it's funny that the majority of people that, like, I have some people that obviously it takes a little longer for them to be successful, right? They kind of take maybe 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, sometimes even longer to do their first deal. But someone like yourself, Paul, that comes out the gate fresh, makes some money, and usually what that does is the same thing you said it did for you. It makes it seem like, oh, this is about to be like walk in the park. Like, this is about to be easy. I'm about to be making so much money so easy. And people start to get that taste of reality after that first deal. Like, oh, shoot, I got to do this over again. And then that's when things start to kick in that, okay, well, maybe it's not as easy as I thought it was. I got lucky because I took a lot of action. But at the same time, there's some different things that I don't know and I got to put into place. So yeah,
I mean, I'll put it to you in the most basic way, right? And I keep tying this back into like working out and fitness only because that had such a major impact in my life, right? It's like having one good workout. You go in there and you kill it. You feel great. You leave the gym and you're like, oh yeah, I feel awesome. But not following up on that, right? And that's a lot of what occurred in the business, right? Like I'd have like a win and then maybe not follow up on what I'm supposed to do after that deal or that next deal, meaning, continue with the marketing or focus on the things that you're doing. I found that, you get distracted, even now, man. I mean, even now that I do deals, on the regular, you can still easily get distracted. You get a good deal that comes in, you're all happy. Maybe you take your foot off the gas a little bit. And it's really just about staying consistent and disciplined to what you're doing. Just like the gym, are you disciplined to go every day? Are you disciplined to do your marketing and do all your business efforts that you need to keep moving the machine forward?
Exactly. That is the two important most words in this business. Is definitely having discipline, and number two, being consistent. Because like you said, I mean, there's times, man, I know I've definitely have done it, is not, having a discipline, like you said, to continue with marketing, as you say, or following up. And I think that's reason why it's so important on like building systems. Eventually, once you start to learn and progress, is like, if you leave things to human error of just you, only the sole person moving the business forward, things are going to fall short eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not robots. We're not perfect. We're all imperfect. We all have flaws of whatever. And that's not to, demean any of us. I mean, we're all human, right? So we have flaws, and we should figure out how do we avoid, either a delay or not follow through, because maybe that's just in our nature, right? After a while, we slow up a little bit. So how do we avoid that? And like you said, we implement some sort of system to avoid our natural emotion or action or whatever that may be, right?
Correct. Right. Definitely. Okay. All right. So tell me a little bit about, all right. So you start doing deals, and did you start to like build a team, or did you like transition to something else, a part of the business? What happened after you started like learning and start doing deals more consistently?
Right. So, I got a VA. I think that was my first dabble of trying to add somebody to the team. Because obviously you get into the business, everybody's talking about VAs and systems and this and that. So of course I went into exploring what that could be, which was great because it taught me how to start hiring even from afar. Create some sort of little mini system and how to hire people, how to train people, how to start offloading some of the activities. So I did hire a VA, which was helpful for tasks that I was doing in the beginning. Whether it was pulling some lists together, preparing stuff for some marketing, because I did start, applying some of the different things that I was learning, not just door knocking. I started doing some direct mail, some postcards were going out. Also tried some online stuff like SEO. Tried it all. I'll be honest with you, kind of, you learn the realities of all the channels as well. And I think when I was early, I didn't really know what it took to get the wheel moving, right? I think when you're new, you don't see through the eyes of an investor. You don't see through the eyes of a marketer. And even if you're just doing one or two deals, let's be honest, that's easy. What becomes really hard is to do it consistent and make that repeatable. So learning how to add some systems, learning how to bring on another person so they can kind of help me get through, some various tasks was kind of where I started going. Continued networking. Networking has probably been one of the greatest tools that I've used, because it's allowed me to really connect with people that, one can tell me real information, solid, real, actionable information that's working right now. Not just somebody that's just trying to sell me something or like a weekend course or, anything like that. And then being able to start getting an inside, look into how people are really operating their business. Because I think, man, there's a difference between people out there that are, obviously there's a difference, right? There's between the people trying to get into the game or doing one or two deals versus the people that are already moving and their business is running now. They're trying to get consistent deals monthly, right?
Exactly.
So really just kind of trying to figure how to transition from a hobby, I guess, if you will, of finding these deals to it being a business, right? I mean, and the thing is, man, it wasn't really even a hobby for me because I dove right in. When I found this, after I got that first deal, a couple weeks into it, I said, hey, this is what I'm gonna do now. I think everybody around me thought I was nuts because I had no real estate background or anything like that. And I think the funny thing is you start telling people, you're going to be an investor, they start looking at you like all crazy. People that don't know about the business or anything about it, they're like, investor? I mean, I think everybody's idea of an investor is, I don't know, a rich guy in a suit driving a Rolls or something, And they're like, no, Paul's not going to be an investor. So to me, it was like, now the mission's on. I'm going to become this dude. And I say that too because it's like you got to become an investor. Yeah. For a long time, you're kind of pretending you kind of know what's going on, but you don't. You meet up with people who are trying to talk the talk, but it's not matching yet. But the more you do that, right, the more repetition of that too, you start kind of knowing what you're talking about, and then you're really genuine, and then people can kind of see if you're bullshitting them or not. But when you really know what you're talking about, then people are like, oh, okay, this dude knows what he's talking about, even if he hasn't progressed to wherever that person's level or beyond or whatever level, right?
Yep, definitely. I mean, because man, it's crazy, Paul. Sometimes I talk to people and I hear that they was like, man, I've been trying to do real estate for 6 years, and I'm like, well, this is the problem. Stop trying. Just do it.
Do it. Do it. My good friend, Don Costa, who I'll tell you a little bit. We're actually doing some deals out here in California now. He says, man, do the work. Just do the work, and that's what it is, man. It's just doing the actions that you need to do on a daily basis until they become habit or they become consistent, so that you can start getting this machine moving, right? This big business that you're trying, not big business, but this business that you're trying to get going so that it can serve you, right? And so that you can ultimately serve other people.
Exactly. Yeah, I've had Don on the show. He's a great guy, man. He definitely gave a lot of value on the show as well too.
Yeah, man, that guy is awesome. He's a mentor of mine. I'm actually doing deals with him out here in California, also doing some acquisitions and then in SoCal. So to really kind of witness, his be on the inside of his business and watching, because he's high volume, rehabber and wholesaler now. And to be a part of that team, man, it's something else. It's really an outstanding opportunity that I'm a part of right now.
Definitely. Well, one thing I do want to ask you, because you are in California, and I know we have a lot of listeners on this podcast, and one thing I see people struggling is how to really break through finding like solid deals in California. Obviously, because the price points are at a higher, than let's say like Tampa, or for instance.
Right.
But just like, is there any type of certain strategy or lead source you've been focusing on heavy that's been producing pretty good results?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. First off, I started the business down in South Florida, so arguably, one of the toughest markets in the country, and now I've actually relocated out to California and doing deals out here, arguably one of the other hardest markets in the whole country, right? And people are always saying, it's so tough to get deals, the competition, the this, the that. That's not true. It all just comes down to you're just not doing the right stuff yet, is because you can't find the deals. Because there's deals everywhere. Even here or in Florida, which I'm still doing deals in. I mean, there's deals everywhere. It's really about finding the marketing channels that specifically work for you and your business. And what I mean by that is not everything works for you. There's a million things that work out there, right? But maybe they don't work for the kind of person you are, the kind of business that you've set up. So you have to look at the different, marketing channels and see, where are you going to go? What are you going to focus on? Is it just direct mail? Direct mail does work in Florida. Direct mail does work in California. We're getting deals out here in California from direct mail. The rates, the conversion rates, response rates are different. So you have to adjust for those things. And then you got to realize, how deep do you have to play, right? There's a certain level for each marketing channel that it's going to take for each market for you to actually be able to compete in. And I think that's something that we don't realize also, right? Like we think, we'll just do this and it'll work. Well, yeah, you have to do that, but there's a certain amount of that you have to do for it to work. Because, I know right now, cold calling and that stuff is really hot. A lot of people are talking about it. Yeah, that works. But if you're not doing it consistent, whether you're in California, Texas, Florida, anywhere, it's not going to work for you. So I think out of all the channels out there, I think from my experience, I'm doing some cold calling specifically out for Florida, where I'm having success with. And we're doing direct mail out here, and we're talking about doing some cold calling out this way soon. It all works, guys. It's really just a matter of figuring out, a channel, maybe two channels of marketing, really figuring out what you need to deploy and making it happen, day in, week in, month in, and out.
Definitely. I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like you said, you got to go out there and put the work in, be consistent with it, and I believe there's opportunities in all marketing channels. It's just some people might send out maybe 250 and then stop,
right,
and be like, oh man, it's not working anymore, or it's not working at all, but there's opportunity. One of the lists though that I did here, and I tell everybody, period, you should be doing this in every single market, is people that are in default in taxes.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you on that. I completely agree. Default in taxes, whether you're on the East Coast or West Coast, that's a hot list. There's a lot of motivation there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's talk about some different systems and softwares. I know you're a part of a big software that someone introduced me to it, and then I remember jumping online with you to really get an in-depth look at it, and man, it blew me away with how much stuff you get with this software. So let's kind of talk about the system that you are involved with. How did you get involved with it? Kind of what's your role in with it? And Yeah.
Right. So yeah, but so I have a good friend. He's out here in California, yeah, and it's funny. He's been a good friend for many years. I was aware that he had software, real estate software. I had known that for years, but since I told you I only got into the business about 3.5 years ago, real estate stuff just wasn't in the forefront of my head, right? But flash forward, my friend Rob learns that I had now gotten into real estate out in Florida. We've been talking, staying in touch, and he's like, about a year ago, he's like, oh man, you gotta take a look at our program and what we're doing. We're bringing out this new version of our platform called PropStream. I'd love to get some insight from you. You're actively doing the business, you're an investor. Tell me what you think. So I dove in. He gives me access, and I'm like, wow, look at this thing, right? It's like it's the thing that I've been looking for. Now it's already been 2 years into the business and or so, and I already kind of had pieced together, piecemeal different tools to get your tax info or your county info or pull your list. You have your whole thing already built out, right?
Yep.
The different tools. Then I log into this thing, and boom, PropStream's got property data, right? So now I can find all my property info in there. It's got the ability to put lists together. I'd spent hours on hours using other list providers and pulling lists and seeing costs and looking at that and this and that. And now I had this all in the same place. And then it gave me the ability to kind of just like look at the markets and determine, hey, am I tapping into the right town here or the right zip code? Am I wasting my marketing dollars? So those are the first things that really popped out to me, right? So I'm like, man, they're onto something here, right? So then for the year, I really kind of stayed on board as kind of, like I said, the investor, the real estate investor, I don't know, the eyeballs, right, the perspective. And then I moved out to California, and once I moved out to California, the company is out here. I got more involved. I've actually joined the team. I'm on the business development team, if you will, right now. Really just kind of getting this introduced to a lot of investors out there and some high-level investors, and really showing them what it is. I mean, it's nationwide property data with list building and property analytics, all in one for an extremely reasonable price. I mean, it's a killer tool that I've been using, especially now that I'm doing virtual deals out in Florida. Obviously, since I network a lot, people start to hear what I'm doing, so I'm now able to kind of look to see if I can do other markets with them, and with this one tool, I can comp properties in any market I want to. I'm not dependent on that MLS, the magic MLS everybody's talking about when you get in the game. They're like, oh, you got to get MLS access, you got to get right comps, right? Yep. And that's hard. I mean, when you first start, or even when you're in the business, I mean, if you got MLS in one area, that's fine. But what if you get a lead in, 2 states over? What do you got to do? So, man, I got involved with this project, and I tell you, it's been really a game changer for me, for my business. And I'm really excited to see the growth of where this platform is going, because I feel strong that it's a tool that any investor, whether you're a newbie, whether you're just, finally starting to get your business going, or a seasoned pro, pulling tons of leads a month, I mean, it's a tool that works for anybody in the game.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, you should have saw the face when I literally that same weekend after I started playing with it. That weekend, I met with my acquisition manager, and I was showing, his name's Mike. I was showing Mike how to use the system going forward, and how we were going to be able to tap into some of those other markets we've been thinking about getting into. He went nuts. He was like, his mouth just drops. He was like, Chris, this thing is crazy. He was like, man, I like this better than MLS. He was like, because the thing with us was like you said, the issue with, okay, if we want to go into, into another market like Jacksonville or something like that, or another area outside of Florida, the issue was having those MLS comps. And I've kind of built scripts and stuff to how to approach some realtors, but it's a different ball game when you're calling somebody on the phone and trying to work with them on, helping you out with count, versus if you meet somebody in person. And just like, it's a very serious numbers game of like trying to lock in a realtor that will even feel comfortable with helping you out, right?
Right.
This eliminates that. I was like, this is a game changer. And instead of having to always jump back and forth from Redfin to Zillow and like everything in here is like, it's crazy. Like, and he was like, he couldn't believe it was such a reasonable price for such a powerful software. He was mind blown.
Yeah, and you know, I'll tell you what, you know, you go on, you mentioned Redfin and Zillow, and you know, those are the tools I was using too, right? You get both of those, get your comps and start averaging them out, you know, that whole thing. But you know, those platforms use an algorithm to generate that number, and that's just, you know, a calculation that the computer's doing, and it presents like an estimated value, which PropStream does as well. But we can also actually kind of modify our own comps based on our market knowledge and understanding, right? Because there's a lot of times, unless you know that market there, you might not know that maybe north of that avenue or south is different, right? It could just across the street, the values can be completely different. But you know, these algorithms a lot of times can't make those differences, can't determine that. So your comps can be different. So within the platform, man, you can really actually choose what makes the most sense and draw your best comp picture comparing apples to apples.
Yep, and that's why I absolutely love it. And you know, also having the feature of being able to pull a list, that's also helpful too, because then we can go in and skip trace them and start doing some different cold calling and ring these voicemail as well too. So yeah, I absolutely love it. I've been trying to telling all my students to sign up, you know, especially ones that's gonna need comps as well, especially if you're going into a virtual market. So yeah, definitely have been enjoying the software.
But you know what I tell people, man? You know, just like I would tell anybody, you know, test stuff out. You know, just any service that you try, any new list that you try, any new marketing, you got to test it out, right? So I tell people, jump on a PropStream, try it out, see how it works in your market. I'm pretty sure you're going to be, you know, pretty impressed by the just the value of what's in there, all the different data points and what you can do, and make that determination. Hey, is it something that works for you, or not?
Yep, definitely. And ladies and gentlemen, for those that's listening that wants to get more information about this system that we're talking about, I do have a link set up for you, and you can actually get a free 7-day trial to test it out, like Paul said, and see if it makes sense for you business-wise. So you can just go to link escapethenewbiezone.com/PropStream. Again, that's escapethenewbiezone.com/PropStream. Use my link. You get a 7-day free trial. I have it in the show notes as well, too. So if you are listening to this on wherever, or at work, or you're in the gym, or wherever, just make sure you come back to the blog, escapethenewbiezone.com, and it will be under the podcast. It should be episode 200, and you'll be able to get that link. So, man, Paul, what are some big things that you have coming up? First off, ending this year and going into 2019.
Well, ending this year, I got some good stuff in South Florida. Like I said, I'm doing some virtual deals out there. My partner and I were about to, you know, drop a lot more marketing. Basically, we're doing cold calling, so we're dropping a lot more numbers into our dialer and really just going hard to wrap the year strong and start the year even stronger. But then also I want to look at rentals, man. I really want to look into some cash flow markets. You know, obviously buying in South Florida and buying in California, those aren't necessarily cash flow markets, right? So I'm definitely looking into some other parts of the country right now, more central of the country, and start picking up some rentals and start growing our portfolio, because you know, you start to realize I've been wholesaling all these years, and wholesaling is a good, you know, it's a cash maker. Right. But, you know, I don't want to be on the grind forever. You know, we want that mailbox money, right? We want to retire early. So that's really a big focus of mine going into next year. You know, and and man, just keep growing as a person, growing the business, spending more time with the family. I'm not one that has giant visions of this enormous corporation business with 20, 30 people working for me. I'm more of the mindset of wanting to build a business that can give me the time and the freedom that I want to spend with my family, right? Totally, I like working out, man. That's really big in my life. I actually got a group out there. It's the Flex and Flip group.
Okay.
I posted up a lot there, just a lot of message, mindset and positivity, and really just connecting the two worlds together. There's a lot of parallel there in the mindset of just keep pushing forward and repetition. So I welcome anybody to come check us out. Sometimes we're either having a hard time with the business or a hard time getting in the gym. And we have a good group of high-level individuals there that kind of help each other, push forward and grow in all aspects.
Man, I love that, man, because I really feel like that's the missing part of quote-unquote being successful is the mindset, is you have to strengthen it, like you said, from just as much as you go into the gym and strengthen your muscles, you have to strengthen that mental muscle as well, too.
100%.
Because you're going to go through some trials and tribulations in the business. You're going to go through some trials and tribulations in life in general. And it's just all about that mindset. So the more that you connect with people, like Paul, like myself, guys, to help you push forward with having that shift and really just staying strong mentally, that's going to ultimately bring you the success that you're looking for. Because, we know there's people with a lot of money and they're still not happy either. So.
Exactly, man. It's the mindset. It's number one. I'm a big preacher of that. I'm get your mind straight. And look, we're all dealing with whatever internal demons that we have, whatever they may be, and it's really about just overcoming that, becoming a better version of yourself. Making sure that you're physically fit too, right? As investors, we're out here grinding, building these businesses, but if we're not around for a long time to enjoy that or enjoy our family, what's the good of that, right? So make sure you guys are getting out there, going to the gym, doing cardio, eating healthy. Those are the important things, because then that's really when we can enjoy everything that we're creating. So get in there, man. You guys got to get up and go to the gym and do what you got to do to stay healthy and stay around on this planet for as long as possible, because life's not guaranteed, man. Everybody's got a certain time on this planet, hopefully the longest possible, but every day is not guaranteed, so we got to really live life to the max and make sure we make the most of it.
Definitely, I agree. All right, so Paul, how can people get connected with you on like social media?
Yeah, on social media, you can find that Flex and Flip group. Just search on Facebook or search for Paul Del Pozo. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere. If you want to email me, paul@flexandflip.com. Let's talk business. Let's talk fitness, whatever it is. Let's talk personal growth. I love networking with people, whether they're here near me or across the country. That's why we got technology like Zoom and Skype makes it incredible. But just reach out to me if my story in any way connects with anybody out there. I'd love to talk more with you.
Perfect. All right, and I've asked every guest that comes on the show this one last question. All right, so someone is listening to this and they want to escape the Newbie Zone and get that first deal done. What advice would you give them?
Do the work. Do the work and focus. Focus on what you want. Set a plan and attack that until you get it done. Don't get distracted. There's a lot of distractions out there. Just focus and do the work and you'll get there.
Perfect. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode with Paul. I'm going to make sure, again, once we have the links to connect with him on social media, as well as if you want to get a free 7-day trial to the PropStream as well. We're going to have links to those in the show notes, so make sure you come to the blog, escapethenewbiezone.com. Just type in the 200th episode, and it will come up. All right, Paul, I appreciate you taking time out your day and coming on the show.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. And guys out there, go get it. Every one of you out there listening can have the life that you guys want. We just got to do the work, do the reps, and live your life that you want.
Boom. There you have it.
Thanks for listening to Escaping the REI Newbie Zone podcast at www.escapethenewbiezone.com.